Hi, my name is Joe Miller. I'm an award-winning professional tutor working with the Profs. For the past 10 years, I've specialised in helping students with their economics studies and get into university to study economics. In this video, I'm going to discuss 5 quick application tips for mastering your MPhil Economics at Cambridge application. Before getting into the tips, it's really important to understand what the MPhil in Economics at Cambridge is. This course is not intended to be a stepping stone into a private sector career, so an investment banking or management consulting career. But similarly, this is not intended to be a stepping stone into a PhD. If you're looking to study a PhD, you should instead look at the MPhil in Economic Research at Cambridge. This course is intended for students who want to afterwards work in some form of policy making, whether it be in government or whether it be in a think tank or even an economic consultancy firm like Frontier Economics. Therefore, the identity that you must create for this application is particularly niche. It's also important to note that the acceptance rate statistics that you see online for this course can be quite misleading. Over the past few years, the acceptance rate has been relatively high, hovering between 25 and 35% of applicants. However, the enrolment rate is around about half of this, and that reflects just how academically difficult it is to get into this course. You must average at least 68% or equivalent in your bachelor's degree, and your bachelor's degree should be in economics. The vast majority of candidates who are made an offer or are accepted into Cambridge for this course achieve a first-class degree, or if you're from an international institution, the equivalent to a UK first-class degree. This is why lots of students who are made an offer every year fail to meet the conditions of that offer. And that's a really important thing to consider before you submit your application. To repeat, if you're not on track for a first-class economics degree or equivalent at bachelor's, there's a good chance that even if you get an offer for this course, you may not be accepted and enrolled. So now for 5 application tips. Tip number 1, get the identity right. There's a lot of confusion on this. If you've watched some of my other videos, you'll realise that I always stress the need in your applications to create a unique identity. And for some courses, this identity should be more vocational. For others, this should be more academic. This course is unique in that it's not intended for students going to work in the private sector at places like investment banks, but it's similarly not intended for students looking for an academic route like a PhD. You therefore need to make sure that your identity is right. So this should be all about solving some sort of policy problem in economics. So your identity should be built around perhaps some of the contemporary issues in economic policy making in government, perhaps some of the economic policy issues in your home country, whether that be the UK or otherwise. Perhaps this could be topics on economic issues of the day, like declining fertility, an ageing population, and so on. The key point I'm making is this course is intended for students who want to go and work in economic policy making, whether that be at a consultancy firm like Frontier Economics, a think tank like the IFS, or in government. That's a really, really important and fine balance to make in your application. If you don't get that balance right, there's a good chance that you'll be rejected, and there's also a good chance that you might be better suited to either a finance master's or Cambridge's master's in economic research. Application tip number 2, and this is really important because every year people approach us and it ends up wasting lots of time because they've made this mistake. Make sure you sit the right test for this programme. The MPhil Economics at Cambridge only accepts GRE test results. So it's very common for students to approach me every year, and because they're applying to other universities, perhaps Oxford, perhaps LSE, perhaps Imperial, UCL, LBS, etc., they have sat the GMAT. And they'll often ask, well, is the GMAT transferable for this course? The answer is no. You must sit the GRE test for this course, not the GMAT. The other question that people ask on entrance tests is, am I exempt from the GRE? The general rule for this course is, if you have a UK degree, then you are exempt. If you have an international degree, in other words, a degree from a university that isn't in the UK, then you are not exempt and you must sit the GRE. My general advice is, even if you're a student with a UK degree, you should still attempt the GRE, because a strong score, especially in the quant section, a top 90th percentile score in that quant section, will absolutely add value to your application wherever your degree is from. For those students that must sit the GRE, I really do stress you need to nail that quantitative section. Tip number 3, and this is a slightly unusual tip to other courses and other videos, but I make it to really stress a point, and that is that you should submit this application early so that not only can you maximise your chances of an offer, but also so that you can dedicate sufficient time in the final year of your undergraduate degree to studying. Like I said earlier, the acceptance rate for this course is relatively high, 25 to 35%, but the enrolment rate is relatively low, about half the acceptance rate. This reflects the number of students who get an offer but are unable to meet the conditions of that offer. It's very common for Cambridge to make you an offer of either averaging 68% in your degree or achieving a first-class economics degree. And lots of students neglect just how much work is often required in the final year of your bachelor's degree to secure a first class. So please don't waste months of your final year at university doing this application. Instead, start early over the summer, have it done by that October or November reading week so that you can really focus on nailing your coursework, dissertation and exams in the final year of your bachelor's. This is a mistake I see lots of students make. Tip number 4, integrate your research interests into your application. Like I said earlier, the intention of this course is not for people wanting to pursue a PhD. That's what the Economic Research Masters is for. But it is an academic course. And so you should show off your research interests, those niche areas within economics that you're most interested in. And then you should try and link that to current policy issues, either in the UK or in your home country. It's important to note there is not a dissertation for this course, and so you don't necessarily need to include a research proposal per se in your personal statement, unless you are applying for some sort of scholarship, in which case research proposals are often necessary. However, you should still include enough research ideas, research interests, academic literature in the personal statement, because this is what the admissions team at Cambridge are going to look for when they're reviewing your application. Like with my other videos, try and substantiate these research interests with things that you've done during your bachelor's degree. The ideal scenario is that you've perhaps completed some sort of research assistantship, or perhaps even an internship at a think tank or a policy institute that you can then leverage and draw upon to substantiate your ideas in the application. My 5th and final application tip for this course is show off your technical skills in economics. The stated purpose of the MPhil in Economics at Cambridge is to provide you with technical training so that you can pursue an economic policy career. Therefore, show off the skills that you've already got in economic theories, applying them to solving real problems like econometrics, and then also your skills of using software like Stata or SPSS. At Cambridge, you will use software like this, and therefore it's a good idea to show off in the personal statement where you've used this in your bachelor's degree, or perhaps in internships, and how these skills will enable you to succeed on this course. If you found this video useful, please do like and subscribe. If you have any pressing questions, please leave a comment below and we'll do our best to get back to you quickly. If you or any of your friends want one-to-one support, please do use the information on screen now so that we can find a tutor suitable for you. Otherwise, good luck with your applications.